and Tiz the Law has the lead at the top of the stretch. It is Tiz the Law in front with 3/16 to the finish. Tiz the Law has a 4-length lead. He's left the others behind.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Race Course, this is Racing Across America. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga. Just minutes from the track. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State. And the Clubhouse Racebook. Can't make it to the track? Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Good morning. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Racing Across America. I'm Seth Merrow in here with Anthony Mormino. We'll kick off in a few minutes, just shortly, but I just did want to reiterate again the play of the day from Steve Bick. If you saw the graphic up there, it's actually race 9, horse number 5. How'd you make your money? That's his DePaula play of the day today. Race number 9, horse number 5. How'd you make your money? Steve Bick's DePaula play of the day on this Thursday afternoon. Thursday morning means Racing Across America live from Clare Court, and coming up a little bit later on, Dave Grening from the Daily Racing Forum. Dave and Mike Welch alternate. Dave will be in this morning. Again, we'll do a little preview and review of some of the stakes action coming up. Jorge Abreu, trainer who's having a pretty good Saratoga meet. We'll have him in a little bit talking about some of his horses that have run already at the meet and done well. And also, he's got one in the stakes race this afternoon that we'll get a little preview of as well. But we're going to kick things off with our friend, Annise Montplaisir, who, as I said in preview of this on the handicapping report, I've had in over the years, going back to Saratoga Special. And she's been in the Flying Start program and now runs Amplify Horse Racing, a group trying to bring new folks into the game. So we'll talk about that and much more. Annise, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
How good is this, huh?
It's great to be back. I always feel like time flies so quickly. Yes. It's like I'm here and then we blink and I'm back and it's the next year and it's great.
Yeah, and I love, last night I was, as always, when I prep for the shows, doing a little research, and I love your Twitter. Annise from Fargo, and I remember back in the Saratoga Special days, you were Fargo.
They still call me that, and unfortunately my last name doesn't fit in my Twitter handle, so it's like, I got to keep it unique. How can I, tie in something kind of fun that goes with my identity? And, Fargo, the Saratoga Special guys called me Fargo, so Annise from Fargo, and I'll keep owning it.
Go back to the first time I had you on the show, we talked about it. Going back to the North Dakota days, you were a racing official out there at one point, right? At about 18 years old?
Yeah. So I started as a volunteer racetrack ambassador, and they actually did something really cool where they had an off-the-track thoroughbred who served as their track mascot. So I was kind of his caretaker during the races. His name was Barracuda Boy. So as people would come in, they would get to pet him. I would talk about his racing career. And then from there, I learned how to pony. I did a racing officials accreditation program certificate course and started taking entries and worked as the director of communications and the clocker and like 15 other things. So it was a great learning
We need a couple more hats just for you.
Yeah, I mean, well, I have to sing the praises of small racetracks where if you come in and you want to learn, they're like, great, here's 10 jobs.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I love Kevin Cox, who works with us. One of his I think he's visited over 100 racetracks. Wow. I love small racetracks to spend a day in time because they do operate differently, but the fun level is certainly there. You're just like, this is great. We're of a different generation, and there used to be a gigantic fair circuit in Massachusetts, and one of them was the closest one to us that opened right after we closed as a little boy. And I'm like, I didn't notice the difference between Great Barrington and Saratoga. I got to bet. They had hot dogs, they had candy. This is good for me.
Yeah, heck yeah. I had my 13th birthday party at the North Dakota Horse Park, and
doesn't everybody?
They gave me like an all-access pass to the, to anything. So I got to go in the barn and got to go stand in the starting gates, and then it was pouring down rain and got to stand right at the finish line as these two, probably 10-year-old geldings were like duking it out to the finish. And
that's wonderful.
I felt like $1 million.
Sure.
And I'll never forget that birthday.
Sure.
That's
Greatest birthday ever.
Right.
That's great. And now you progressed again, and you went through the 2 mentorships, because whenever I get the Saratoga Special people here, I say it's like our own version of the Flying Start. But you've gone through the Saratoga Special and then moved on to the Flying Start as well, and maybe we'll hit on that in a moment. But now you've moved on to Amplify, and that's the reason I wanted you in here, because here at Saratoga you have some events and have had some events, and I think it's a great organization and a great mission to bring some new people in. But talk specifically, what is the mission of Amplify?
Yeah, so Amplify Horse Racing is a 501c3 nonprofit to promote education and careers in the thoroughbred industry, primarily to youth and young adults, but we do welcome all newcomers. And, I'd say there's a lot of talk in our industry of how we need to start developing the next generation and attract youth and attract a younger audience. And so my co-founder and I started developing Amplify in 2019 to develop a more, streamlined pathway into the industry, because there are a lot of amazing educational organizations and initiatives, but not really like a first step for youth to get involved and then learn what all the pathways are from there. So Amplify is meant to amplify existing programs that are out there and then fill in the gaps with other touch point experiences and a mentorship program. And we are expanding nationally, primarily based in Kentucky right now, and here in New York, working on some programming, and hopefully next year a little bit of everywhere.
Wow, quite a bit. I mean, so basically you make it easier to know which doors to knock on for young people?
Yeah, so the goal with our website is for somebody to be able to come and have an overview of what is the thoroughbred industry, because it's a very, as a whole, it's a niche sport, a niche industry, but it has all of these little segments or parts to it. You have racing, you have sales, you have breeding, I'd even say the veterinary world and aftercare are all parts of it as well. And so being able to understand how it's all interconnected, who some of the major organizations are that run racing, and then for somebody to be able to locate educational opportunities near them in their state, or if they want to work in the sport, what is some of the training they need to pursue in order to do that. Our mentorship program has been a great connector of that, because for all of us, or most people who got into the industry and are now working in it, we most likely had some incredible mentor who had faith in us and wanted to see us grow and develop our own expertise, and they helped to open doors and introduce us to learning experiences. So the mentorship program helps create a more formalized process to do that.
And I think what you're doing is important also, because over the years I've talked to people who have said, gee, I thought about kind of going into the horse racing industry, but I'm not good with horses. And people don't realize between the backside and the front side, an ancillary business, really any profession you're in, you can relate to the horse industry. And so I think it's great that you're kind of allowing people to learn the various and the vast array of jobs that are related to horse racing if you're interested. Talk a little bit also about up here at Saratoga, the events you've done already. I saw you had an event over at the museum. You have the tours, but what have you done so far? What's coming up?
Yeah, so on August 1st at the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame, we hosted it was essentially kind of a mini forum for education. We called it Amplifying the Future of Racing. And so Amplify is actually the U.S. affiliate of a global initiative called Together for Racing International. And that is a network of organizations among 6 different racing countries that come together periodically to talk about what they're all doing in the space of educating youth, engaging with communities, and developing and training workforce. So each country had been kind of tasked with having some kind of educational gathering to teach about what TFRI, Together for Racing International, is doing, and then start engaging the industry more with education because it is such an important topic. So we're going to be releasing the full recorded seminar that we had along with a highlights reel in the coming days. And then the big project has been, this was actually the 3rd year of our Experience Saratoga Amplify horse racing tours. And so the goal with that, we had approached NYRA in 2019 because, again, our focus is to amplify existing things. So to help enhance structures that are already there and maybe add more educational value to it. And so, you know, NYRA does these great trolley tours. They're bringing so many people to the track already.
Every day,
yes,
the trail.
Exactly. It brings you so much joy to see people getting to experience the magic of the Saratoga backstretch. So Amplify wanted to create a tour for them that really focused on careers and bringing youth and young adults in and giving them pathways once they leave their tour. So, you know, a lot of people come on the trolley tours and they might have a wonderful time, but still not know what is the next step for me to get more involved in the industry. So we've really created a tour that's meant to, you know, big shout out to NYRA and to NYTHA, the New York Thoroughbred Horsemen's Association, for their help and support with organizing speakers. But, you know, we want to bring people in, share and showcase all of the incredible professionals that help to make racing possible on a daily basis. So youth come over here to the backstretch. It's all a walking tour. We learn about aftercare. They visit the barn of a trainer. They learn about veterinarians. They speak to vets. They got to go out on the turf course and learn about turf course maintenance. They go to the National Museum of Racing to have lunch and watch their incredible film. Then we come back to the races. They go in the paddock. We get to visit the silks room. They learn about communications, stewarding, social media, the racing office. Basically anybody who I can grab and throw in front of these kids and be like, talk about your job. You know, and they have a wonderful time.
One of the things that's, I suspect the same for Seth and myself is, we've been doing it a long time. We have other access. So I can't walk in the shoes of other people who come up here for the first time or even the 10th time and look around and go, oh my goodness, what is going on here? And how intimidating all of it can be. It moves so fast. It's moving in different directions. So I just can imagine like a young person, as you said, coming up here and having your leadership of, you know, saving time and being more efficient and leading them around and go, oh, okay, it makes more sense to me. Whereas before it was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, and the more you understand about the sport, I feel like the more interesting it is. You know, I've heard newcomers come to the track and they say, well, there's a lot of time between races. You know, I'm kind of bored between the races. But if you understand what is happening and you know what to look for, what to watch when you see the horses in the paddock, like one thing visitors find really interesting is when I point out the different racing officials. Like, okay, that's the horse identifier. This is what they are doing. That's the paddock judge. That's what they're looking for. Pointing out some of the equipment and just getting them to be a little more observant of their surroundings.
Sure.
And people find that fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes.
I find it fascinating.
Right.
Still.
Yeah.
We had a couple of shots also of the group out on the tour, and it looks like well received and lots of smiles amongst the group. Are there still tours scheduled this season, or should folks maybe look for next year at Saratoga?
Yeah, our last one is on Friday, this coming Friday, the 19th. Tomorrow. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Wow, that time went by really quickly.
First the 19th.
Yeah. Registration has technically closed, but if you email me at info@amplifyhorseracing.org by, we'll say like 2 o'clock today, I could still get you in.
I like that.
And then we'll start looking at programming next year. But then I'll also be it's called CCE Equine, but it's a group that's associated with the Cornell Cooperative Extension Service here in New York. I almost said Kentucky. We're not in Kentucky.
It's okay.
They do a Saratoga County Horse Farms Open House Day, which is happening on Sunday. And so we are going to be set up at one of the farms there with a booth and more information about Amplify. So people can find us there too.
One of the things that Seth and I say often, Capital Off-Track Betting's been back here for a generation. we know how blessed we are to have this, and we recognize that you can't have everybody walking in. But I'm like, if you spent just a morning having like coffee and Danish or whatever in amongst these trees, you watch the horses, you would come back. You would it's just such a pleasant experience to enjoy how beautiful it is in the morning. Yeah. And then to learn about what's actually going on, as you said, the paddock judge and all that. Like I said, it starts just as a maze of bodies and humans and saddlecloth colors and owners' silks colors, and you're like, and then you just walk them through, and like you said, once you know about something, it's easier for you to be like, well, I'll come back. It's not as what's the word? Intimidating. Yeah. It's not as intimidating as it was before I was with your group. I understand more things, and I'll learn something more tomorrow.
And it sounds like the tours are kind of an immersive experience that allow people to learn more and feel a little more comfortable. And again, generous of you to offer tomorrow. Go to the website. We put the website up there a few times. And click on the email info at Amplify, and if you email by 2 o'clock this afternoon, you can get in on tomorrow. But as I was doing a little research, just regularly via the website and your social media pages, you have other ways that folks can kind of get involved. The how-to advice from professionals, I found that kind of interesting, and you also have a regular podcast as well.
Yeah, so this has been really our big explosive year where we have so much programming that it's almost running away from me. That's really exciting. So I do a monthly virtual live streamed presentation, basically where we have industry professionals on. I call it our horse racing hangouts. Okay. And so we have, every month focuses on a different sector of jobs in the industry. Our theme for this year is how to, and we're really focusing on in-demand jobs that are really in need of hiring people right now, and then those speakers giving actionable steps as to how anybody listening can access training or apply for any of those jobs. People can comment, send in questions and comments live. So that's been great. We just had an episode on racing officials on Tuesday. And so that was wonderful. We do the Amplify Horse Racing podcast, which is really fun. Then I have to give a big shout out to my employer, the Kentucky Equine Education Project Foundation, because I am based in Kentucky. And so Amplify and the Keep Foundation work on doing a monthly Equine Careers Tour series throughout central Kentucky. So every month we do a free tour where people who want to explore maybe careers in different sectors of the equine industry, both thoroughbred and non-thoroughbred, can register, and we bring them in. And it's kind of similar. It's like a boiled down 2-hour version of what we're doing here in Saratoga, where they meet people, talk about jobs and training. So we have an event coming up on August 29th. There we go. At Spy Coast Farm in near Lexington, which is a massive sport horse facility, which will be really interesting. So I always end up learning because racing is, my big thing.
We go.
But yeah, so that's going to be really fun. We stay busy with a little bit of everything.
Also, non-Amplify necessarily, but another podcast you're involved with that I think is fun. You do the Spanish language La Trifecta.
Yes.
And that's what, weekly?
Yes, every Thursday at 8 p.m. We might adjust that because we've all been working very hard, especially as you get into summer. So my co-hosts of that are Darwin Vizcaya, who's here in Saratoga doing a lot of Spanish work as well, and, Spanish media coverage, and then Claudia Spadaro, who's based at Gulfstream Park in Florida. So it's a really fun show. It's meant to be 3 friends just getting on and talking about horse racing in Spanish. I love using my Spanish, but there's always a bit of Spanglish. So another thing that we try to get across is, to not be intimidated to use your second language. It's okay to make mistakes. People just really appreciate when you try to use your Spanish. And
weren't you in college? You had you were abroad. You were down in South America, right? Weren't you wasn't your dorm kind of overlooking one of the racetracks, if I remember the story?
Yeah, I studied abroad in Viña del Mar, Chile. And so the university that I decided to go to overlooks a racetrack.
I like that.
And so every
Which
day
came first, the racetrack or decided to go to?
So I picked the country based on, they had horse racing and narrowed it down to the city that had the university closest to a racetrack.
There you go.
So my priorities
Wise
are
beyond your
set.
years.
Yeah.
Very good.
By the way, you might miss it, Seth. Great earrings.
Oh, thank you. I had to, have a bit of luck today, but bring in those horse vibes.
Yes, you can't see them. They're beautiful. They're a horseshoe with diamond feet. They're
Gotta love that too.
Yeah.
Annise, we really appreciate the visit and kind of alerting people to Amplify, because I think during Saratoga we get an audience that is kind of new to horse racing, going over the track and getting enamored with horse racing, and so I think there probably are a lot of young people who think, oh, I'd like to get involved. That's a great way to do it. Go by the website, and again, they can send an email today by 2 o'clock and get on tomorrow's tour, which will, again, be an immersive experience folks will have a lot of fun with. But congratulations again, having you over the years from your days at the Saratoga Special, and to see you move on now to this. Really, I am proud to have had you on from the beginning, and moving on to really bigger and better things. And we appreciate the visit this morning. Good luck going forward with Amplify and more.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you
guys for having me
Our
on.
pleasure. Great
it's always
job,
wonderful.
Annise Montplaisir and Dave Grening. We're happy to have him on board as well. He'll join us after the break. A little preview and review of some of the Saratoga Stakes action right after this. Stay tuned.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Hello everyone, I'm Scott Vartley, and I'm here at the West Condominiums in Saratoga Springs. And guess what? We are down to the home stretch. Everything is 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. Come make a selection of one of the greatest condos ever to be built in Saratoga Springs. We're starting in the upper 5s, and the only rooftop penthouse available now under construction. Wow, just look at this patio. We have a rooftop pool, heated garage, balconies, and a gym. Call me at 518-281-6808.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on a Thursday. Thursday means a visit from the Daily Racing Forum. Mike Welch, Dave Grening on the rotation. Dave Grening in this morning. Dave, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
very well.
good.
Thank you.
Happy to have you in. I know you always looking at the workouts, buzzing around the backstretch. Any news on workouts side or backstretch this morning?
There was. I didn't get a chance to watch many workouts this morning. Let's just say that it was a bit busy. It's been a busy morning.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Other things happening that looking into. So. Been a busy morning.
All right. Well, we will check out drf.com and the hard copy to see what's up. And I will tout the workout reports. However, I always do it when you guys are in, because I have them here someplace myself. Great way to kind of my dark horse play of the day yesterday, Socially Selective, got a nice string of B's on the workouts, and turned out working out well for us as well. So when I saw that, I was extra confident with my horse. So great, a great tool in the toolbox. So go to drf.com to check out that. Before we get into Saturday, let's just do a little review of some of what came up. I want to go back to August 13th, first-time starter. A little bit of a late start for Expressman, but I didn't call for the replay. I should have called for the replay, but I had to at least bring it up because, as I say, a little bit of a late debut for the Pletcher trainee, but a 107 buyer.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. You don't get too many triple-digit buyers like that from a first-time starter, and usually the ones that do, it tells for a bright future. Obviously, he was a little late getting to the races. We're in August of his 3-year-old season. but he certainly displayed some professionalism and good speed to post that a very fast race over a track that isn't very fast.
Yeah,
he hasn't played very fast all meet, and he ran a fast time and he got a good number. He looks like he should stretch out. He's by Liam's Map. Liam's Map sort of had the same progression in terms of a late start. Now he lost his debut, but then he didn't really lose much after that. I think he won 6 of 7 or 7 of 8. The only race he lost was a very heartbreaking decision in the Whitney. But if this horse proves out to be like his father, he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
And as you were talking, I was going to say, it sounded like from your article, Pletcher's going to be conservative. I don't know, conservative might be the wrong word, but not.
Well, I don't think, like, you get a number like that, so, well, do you take a shot in this Pennsylvania Derby off one race? It's probably not going to happen. I think he's going to try and do the progression. I don't think he's going to try and get everything he can get this year. I think you sort of lead him into early 4-year-old year, because if you look at some of these horses, like the Speaker's Corners and the Olympiads, when they run a big number off, and in their case, allowance races, then they get thrown into a stakes race and they get beat.
Yeah.
And then they have to regroup, and then you've seen those two horses in particular regroup and do well. I mean, I believe it was Speaker's Corner, not Olympiad, 1 and 2. That was a big buzz horse in the Pennsylvania. I think it was Speaker's Corner, big buzz horse in the Pennsylvania Derby last year. He was nowhere because he was running against seasoned stakes horses. So Todd's seen that. Todd's been around a long time. He's across the street in the Hall of Fame. Saw his plaque yesterday, or his video thing yesterday. He's not going to do that. So you try and pick and choose your spots, and maybe a race like the Discovery is his first stakes race prior, with an allowance race to that, and then you build up, and maybe see what the Pegasus looks like. You start to get dream like that again, but then again you have to step on the brakes because it's one race. So let's get a series of races together, see how good he really is, and take the gradual approach. You've got all of next year. I'm sure they didn't bring him back to win a maiden race and then say, oh, we got a 107 buyer. Who wants him?
McLean's music.
Right. So I think we'll see more of him, and I think it gives you something to look forward to with the retirements that you would expect of a horse like Life is Good next year. This is a nice horse to maybe try to fill a role like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's super impressive, but it is the middle of August, and aiming to make the most of the 4-year-old season.
That's
probably
what I think
is the.
Now, not that it's a big thing, but was the other Pletcher part of the entry the one that there was greater buzz going in? That's
in my interview with him afterwards, what he said was he thought Unlimited Potential, which was the horse that ran second, was better in the later stages of that workout, that they had a very fast work from the gate, and he thought just watching that work that maybe it would be Unlimited Potential. I don't think he thought either one of them was going to run like that, but I think he maybe went in thinking that these two will be a good match for each other, and it was a mismatch.
Well done. Slid that in there.
Also wanted to view a couple of stakes and get your opinion. First, we'll take a look at the 4-star Dave. Regal Glory is the 1-2 choice. No match for Lee Einside. We had Lee in on Sunday, and always happy to see Lee win. Casa Creed, though, boy, this is and Lee made the case, and I think it's a case to be made. With a couple of grade ones on the turf, he's in the conversation for the turf mail this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's put himself in the conversation. All these Eclipse Awards, we can all conversate about them now in August and even when we leave here on Labor Day. But these awards are determined in the fall. The better races, obviously culminating with the Breeders' Cup. Look, if he were to win the Breeders' Cup Mile, yeah, he probably gets it, or maybe not, because somebody who's run a string of races and then wins the turf gets it. But this was a very good performance. You like the fact that they persevered with this horse to the mile. They've run him a couple of times in this race. The 2 previous years, he was 3rd. He's kind of that tweener horse, that he's not really a 5.5, which is what they run here on sprints and what they run at the Breeders' Cup Sprint, turf sprint this year at Keeneland being 5.5. Mile may not be his best, although maybe the maturity and then the good pace here, which was actually just sort of a moderate pace, but you see him coming, and that's, and he just really ran a very good race here. Regal Glory second. I think that's now 5 runner-up finishes in this race for Chad Brown, the race he's never won here, which is kind of odd, but it's but it was nice to see them take a shot, Casa Creed in the mile, and now they have options. They can try the mile against the best milers in the world, try the sprint against the best sprinters in the world, and either way, it doesn't cost them anything. Not that money's an object for those guys.
I was only wondering how many horses have won winning earnings for different races.
You'd get a couple of those. You win.
The sprint.
I'd say maybe I'm wrong about the Life is Good. Maybe the neighborhood isn't one, but I thought that for some reason I thought the neighborhood might have been one for the sprint, but I might be wrong. But horses win like the Met Mile and the Whitney. It's one Met Mile's for the dirt mile and the Whitney's for the classic. So you get a couple, but now they're in a good situation and they just have to pick the best spot.
Absolutely.
Also wanted to show from Saturday the Saratoga Special. Gulfport came in with a lot of buzz, went off at a short price, winds up second. Damon's Mountain's going to be the number 2 horse and win here. Kind of a popular victory. A lot of folks rooting for Michelle Lovell. She gets it done. But your follow-up article says they won't be back for the hopeful.
No, Michelle kind of hinted that they're going to look at Kentucky and maybe get them out around 2 turns. I think the fact that the Breeders' Cup is at Keeneland this year, the Breeders' Futurity makes some sense to get a race over the track at Keeneland. She's based right now. The horse is based at Colonial Downs in Virginia. When that meet ends, which is soon, Michelle will move her string to Churchill. There is the Iroquois Stakes, I believe, there. Yeah. I think the Iroquois is a bad race from a timing perspective. It's like September 17th. It's kind of in no man's land. You don't really have a great amount of time to sneak in another race, and I think it's too far away from the Breeders' Cup. I need to do a little bit more research on it, but I don't think horses that ran in that race have done very well in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. So I think you give him the time now. He had a strong race, shipped back and forth in the summertime. He went from Churchill to Virginia, from Virginia to Saratoga, back to Virginia. Then he's going to have to go to Churchill. Maybe the thing is to just get those 2 races at Keeneland in the fall, and I kind of, in talking to her on Sunday, I kind of got the feeling that's where they're leaning.
Yeah. I think not this time. I think when they first moved the Iroquois out of that mile and they made it that mile 16th, right. I think he caught the slop in the Iroquois, won that, and then was runner-up. Right. And I needed him over Classic Empire in the Breeders' Cup. But
those are the kind we remember.
Yes.
And I just wanted to hit on one more for the weekend, going back to the Mahoney, because Christophe Clement, Dean Reeves. Big Invasion is a monster, and what
decisions to be made?
Did they hint what the game plan is for him going forward? As a 3-year-old going forward, he's going to be the number 2 horse here, and just man, he was phenomenal. Your thoughts on the race, and as I say, did they give a hint going forward?
Well, what my thoughts on the race were, and I kind of concur, I guess, with Christophe, is that with Christophe Clement, the trainer, this might have been his most professional race, in terms of sitting back and making the run without sort of the rider having to, get him to do that. Like, I think he did it on his own. The pace was pretty quick. But he's getting a little bit more professional with each race, and Christophe said this was his best race, and it probably was. You like to see the fact, I credit the Connections for running him as frequently as they have. I think he's now 6 for 7 in his career, and his career is this year. It started in January. I think they're sort of debating whether there is a race at 6.5 furlongs worth of, I think, $700,000 at Kentucky Downs. Yeah. There's the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint, which hasn't, Christophe's wondered about 3-year-old success in there. I found 2 3-year-olds, including Golden Pal last year, to have won it. I think if you target that race, maybe you just freshen him up and go towards that race. That was Christophe's first inclination, but maybe he's just a horse that thrives on running. And since he really only does his running for about 3/16 of a mile, these races aren't overly taxing on him. And you can see Rosario there is basically easing him up as he gets to the wire. So maybe he's a horse that thrives on running. Maybe he's a horse that, if you give him too much time, it doesn't work out. So to me, if he's doing well and the September race comes around at Kentucky Downs, you want to run him in, why not run him there? And then if he's doing well at the Breeders' Cup, run him there. There will be a Breeders' Cup next year. And, I guess it just depends on the horse. Let the horse tell you. But they've gotten a lot out of this horse this year. And, wherever they go, he's going to be very tough.
Dean Reeves,
Dean Reeves, by the way, having an outstanding meet.
Yesterday with the
See, those silks just...
Like, whoosh. Yeah, it's insane. All right, let's do a little preview on the weekend. We'll start with the big one and kind of work our way back. Saturday, Grade 1 Alabama, $600,000 up for grabs, 1.25 miles. I pulled up, obviously, the Coaching Club American Oaks. It's going to be number 3 Nest over number 5 Secret Oath. Nostalgic runs 3rd. They're all back in here. Jerry Mander for Chad Brown coming off the Mother Goose win. Goddess of Fire close up 2nd in the Wilton previously. But I think folks are looking for a rematch, Nest and Secret Oath. What are your thoughts?
Look, Nest was dynamic last time, up close to the pace, which I'm not even sure that's her preferred running style. But the small field sort of dictated, and the pace sort of dictated that she be right there when some of the other speed didn't go. and she just continued keeping on, and it was a dynamic performance off a very good second in the Belmont Stakes. Her pedigree suggests that she's going to get better with more racing or with age, and I think the races have borne that out. I mean, I know she got beat in the Belmont, but she ran a very credible second there. She had a little bit of a difficult trip in the Kentucky Oaks, and I also think the longer distances are just going to play right into this filly's wheelhouse, and I think 1.25 miles on Saturday is just, she's going to take a lot of beating. And I know Wayne Lucas is very high on the way Secret Oath is done since the Coaching Club American Oaks. He would like a different type of trip. He thinks she's better when she sits back and makes the one run. I think that's the plan here. The fact that it drew a couple of stragglers here, I initially had this was a 5-horse field. Now it ballooned to 7. You've got a couple of horses like She's Keen, who was on the lead, albeit versus on slow fractions, but it looks like she likes to be into the race. Her last 2 races, one at Churchill where she got beat and one in here where she won. I think it could be more of a truer run race than maybe, and I think I think that'll help Secret Oath, but I also think it's going to help Ness too. So I just think Ness is in a better position right now than Secret Oath. Secret Oath has run 6 times, had a very strong campaign to this point. I brought that up to Wayne. He kind of flashed me a Cheshire Cat grin and said, okay, you bet, you just get ready. So I think Secret Oath will run better, but she can run better and get beat 2 lengths by Ness if Ness runs the same race.
And there's no morning line on the PPs I print up, so I don't know where David I'm going to be interested to see where the betting public goes.
I think they'll overwhelmingly go to Ness. I think Ness will be 4 to 5. I think Secret Oath might even, you might even see some support for Gerrymander. Gerrymander ran a very nice race in the Mother Goose, even though she was like the longest shot in the field, in the 4-horse field. She's supposed to get better with the distances too, but it'll probably be Ness at 4 to 5, Secret Oath at 3 to 1, and Gerrymander at 4 to 1.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested. Also on the card, Smart and Fancy, and this one's kind of interesting because of Bruce Brown has a really nice New York bred here, and that gives them all kinds of options, but they've been in open company and looked pretty good, winning the Caress last time at 21 to 1. I had Bruce on after that, and that they come back and try to get another stake during the meet. Robin Sparkles, again, we'll watch the replay of the Caress, going to be the number 6 horse in here. Nice field. Caraval, boy, disappointed in the Caress. I'm interested to see what she does on the rebound here, but what are your thoughts on the Caress, or the Smart and Fancy?
This is a race that if you're going to play, you should probably watch the replay about a dozen times like I was this morning. Caraval ran poorly. She got bumped around a little bit at the start. She likes to be into the game a little bit more than she was that day, and she was basically done. If you see the 2-horse here on the outside, Miss J. McKay, who gets beat like a length and change, I guess actually it says here the 3.75 of a length. Watch her trip. Watch the head-on. Watch her trip down the backside, and you'll be gravitating to her. She had a very difficult trip in this race, and she only got beat 3/4 of a length. Her stablemate, Lady Edith, has didn't have the smoothest of trips. This filly is a horse that I've tried twice now, and got a very good ride, but difficult trips at 35 to 1 and 15 to 1. I don't know what price she'll be, but I'll probably wind up going back to Lady Edith as well. She's run 2 very good races and just didn't get paid for it, nor did I for betting on her in the Caress and the Intercontinental. But this is a wide open race. I think it'll be a differently run race than Robin Sparkles. Here's your head. Sorry to show the head on. Here's the there's more speed in this race. Robin Sparkles will not get loose on the lead. You got a horse like Sarah Harper, I believe is the name. She'll be in the mix, and I think Caraval being from the outside, she'll be in the mix too. So I'm leaning toward the Clement runners, and I'll probably play them both because I don't want to say, well, I had the wrong Clement. I'll have both Clements, and I'll be wrong once, and hopefully I'll be right as well.
Yeah, and you don't want to get divorced from Lady Edith.
No, not off those 2 trips.
Those are the kind that take your soul away a little bit. Finally, the Lake Placid Grade 2 event, a couple $100,000, mile and a 16. Is With the Moonlight going? Because I pulled the replay of the Saratoga Oaks, and I just thought it was kind of funny that they're turning around this quickly. But the Charlie Appleby horse, if she goes, and we'll look at the Saratoga Oaks, boy, it just looks like to be in a good spot here, I would think.
Yeah, she's running. They even had that decision made. I talked to Charlie 2 days after this race, after the Saratoga Oaks, and the one thing he said in the winner's circle after the race was that William Buick, the jockey that day, told him that this filly can, she's handy enough to run the shorter distances. Now, he ran her at 1.25 miles, he ran her at 1.316, but I think their target is the Queen Elizabeth at 1.125 miles at Keeneland in early October, and I don't think they wanted to wait that long. This is only, this is 2 weeks later. This is a little tighter than I would even think, but they weren't going to go longer in the Jockey Club Oaks, which is now going to be at Aqueduct on September 17th. They weren't going to go to the 1.5 miles, maybe on that one is. So they're looking at the Queen Elizabeth, how to best get there. Why not run her back at a track that she's been basically spent the last 6 weeks at and had a good race over it. So that's why they're looking at this spot. And it also will give them confirmation whether she can cut back to something to be more handier at 1.16 miles, and I think she's in a pretty good spot here. I know it's Luis Saez rides her. I guess the Buick probably has other commitments in Europe, but you have her against sort of 4 solid horses from Chad Brown. I'll tell you an interesting horse in here. I don't know if she's quality enough to win it, to win this stake on this day, but Canisi's been training lights out for Christophe Clement, and on a cursory glance at the PPs, I didn't get full blown into it. She could be the main speed in here as well, and she looked like that style was good for her when she broke her maiden at 1.125 miles. But she's dangerous in here, I think, as a potential pace player, and I also think she's training very well. It's just, she's going from an A other end, facing seasoned stakes horses.
Yeah, it's an interesting race. 4 Chats and Charlie Appleby with the horse coming out of the win a couple of weeks ago. Fun. So it's a fun Saturday. People can catch up with all of the coverage. Hard copy of the Daily Racing Form or drf.com. Dave Grening, the New York correspondent, doing a great job up here at Saratoga as well. We appreciate your time. Know you're very busy, but we appreciate you swinging by.
Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll take a break. He's in the house, Jorge Abreu. We'll talk a little bit about his meet so far. He's got a horse in the stake this afternoon as well, so stay tuned.
Set now for the juvenile fillies turf. 14 of them across the track. Field sent on their way. And of the dance on the outside, broke a little sideways with Pro KK, but meanwhile it's going to be stopped. But running on now, and Somali Lemonade's got 8 to make up. They come to the top of the lane. Stop shoving. Maria's got a lot left. Stop shoving. Maria goes on. Sweet Cat is right there. Hard not to right. Royal Body is running on. Past the 8 ball way comes. Stop shoving. Maria full of run. Still under a hand ride. They come to the 16th. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Yes, Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten. Stop shoving Maria. Stephanie's Kitten's watered. Watched her chances, broke smartly, but so did Terror from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern, the Grey going well. If he can get through. Sky Lantern, the Grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Terror from the Cape hanging on. Terror from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla has gone right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be Watch the Chances, Summer of Fun, coming on to finish third.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, we are joined now by trainer Jorge Abreu, having a very good Saratoga meet. We'll talk about some of the winners. Has one in the stake this afternoon. We'll preview that as well. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very good. Happy to have you on board.
Yes.
And I always say we get new people, new fans who are
Absolutely.
watching when we're up here at Saratoga, so I like to introduce them to some of the trainers they see in the program and give a little background. Talk about your background. Where were you born and you come from originally, and how did you get into the racing game?
Well, I was born in the Dominican Republic. My dad used to be a jockey back home, and all my uncles and my granddad, they used to train back there. They still train. And then we came here in 1984. My father used to work for Skippy Chapoff, and we used to come on the weekend, me and my brothers. We used to roll out bandages and do the water buckets and feed up. In 1991, I became an assistant trainer and a rider for K. Eric Jensen. And then I had the opportunity to work for Terra Nova as an assistant trainer for 5 years, Nick Cito. And then from there, I went with Chad for 9 years. I was his first assistant trainer.
Yeah, when I was doing some of the bio information, I saw you had, a background. You had Billy Badgett.
Billy Badgett, I galloped for Billy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were an exercise rider before you were a trainer. Do you still get on horses?
Not no more.
Okay. I'd check.
That's somebody else's job now.
Yeah, then days
you
are
get up
over.
on them. I'll give you a leg up, but that's as far as I'm going.
I did see when you were with Zito, you got on commentator.
I used to gallop commentator when we won the Whitney here.
Yeah.
The
I
first
got a
time
lot
or the
of nice
second
ones.
time?
The first time.
Really?
Yeah.
With-
when we beat Sam Liam.
He was a beast that day.
He was.
Was that Gary Stevens
Gary
rode him in the
Stevens
afternoon?
rode him, yeah.
He got that breather on the backside, which is about what he needed. That was
Yeah.
one of the best Whitneys ever.
He was a very good horse.
Can you tell that in the morning when you're an exercise rider? Can you tell the class of a horse like that?
Well, you could tell with some of them.
Yeah.
When they have the talent, they show it right away.
Yeah. Talk about the first time up here at Saratoga and how that was different from any other experience you've had.
Well, 1984, I was only 9 years old, and we used to stable in barn 34, right next to Carlos Martin's barn. Back then, everything was so different, racing and everything. So, good old days.
Yes.
Very much so. And now you're up here, and as I say, having a very good meet. When you come to Saratoga, do you have a goal?
Well, I do. Like, as a trainer, I prep everything to run Inspire in Saratoga. I know sometimes I got a slow Belmont meet, but I'm more concentrated on who I'm going to drop, where I'm going to place them, or give them a race. Because this is a big deal here, winning in Saratoga.
Yeah, no question about it. Where are you stable?
I'm stable in 186. I'm across from Jeremiah Engelhardt, and then back of my barn is Kenneman Peak.
So that's over here?
In the annex.
Okay.
On the Oklahoma,
very
across the
good.
street from the
So you
Oklahoma.
like being over there?
I love it. It's quiet, it's peaceful.
Yes.
Do you ever bring horses here to Clare Court?
Not really. I used to gallop in that, but I never bring one of my
Yeah,
own.
because I've had trainers on before, and they say it's such a different atmosphere. You bring a horse over here who needs maybe a little mental
Well,
break.
you do when you have that tough horse that they don't handle the main track or the training track because it's too crowded and they want to run off. This is a place to bring them.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
For some reason, they relax there.
Yeah.
for 40 years, I don't think I've ever heard a trainer say they don't enjoy being over on
And
the Oklahoma
Oh,
track.
you have to
Like
know
I mean, I'm about 9-10 years older than yourself, and you know, some of them aren't moving off because young people will ask me sometimes, like, well, why would they be over there? Wouldn't this be center stage? And I'm like, I don't know, but I've talked to a lot of them over the years, and they really like being over there.
It seems like the baby, you do want to bring them over and give them a breeze over this track or two so they could get used to and the surrounding and all that, but I like the training track better.
Okay.
And they did the renovation over there last year, right? The renovation in Oklahoma. How is the Oklahoma now?
The Oklahoma is great. It's in perfect shape.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear.
The one thing they used to say, and just from a handicapping, when we talk about your first time started winter, is the track was heavier in Jeep over there, and the workouts, the rule of thumb used to be 3 seconds. That's how heavy it was. So if a horse worked like 101, you were like, well, that's really good. Like that's
you know
really
you had a
good.
good horse.
Yeah, you just couldn't because they trained on it, and the trainers liked that. They liked to train on that surface over there.
And we're back to that surface over there now. Like horses to go 49, 102, you know, you're a grass
It's good.
horse, and it's good work.
Okay.
Some people look for faster than that. Like I'm
Right.
not.
Yeah.
I'm more CV style, 49, 50.
Take us through a typical day for you up here at Saratoga, because I know here at Saratoga it's a little bit different because there's also a social scene at night and whatnot. But take us through typically when do you kick off in the morning, and take us through a day when maybe like today where you have a horse in the feature race.
Well, I get to my barn at 4:30 in the morning every day, 4:45. You know, it's a long process in the morning. You always
Absolutely.
the morning is never a dull moment. Always gonna be either a loose horse.
Oh.
You know, something always gonna go wrong. Not that you're looking for that, but that's how this game is. Especially on a day like today, like we got schooling to do, we go to the paddock. I have 2 horses in the paddock right now. They're in on Saturday, but I had to come over here and then go get back, get ready, feed, and be ready for this afternoon.
And then what happens after the races? What is your job after the horse comes back from the feature race?
Well, after the race, what we do, we go back. I said with my assistant trainer, we go over the set list for the morning, make sure everything is ready for the morning, and that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, a long day. You talked about schooling. I always ask trainers this. What, because again, we have new fans that are new to the game, and in between races, they may see some of those horses walking around the paddock, no saddle, and kind of, they'll hear people mention, oh, they're schooling in the paddock. What's the game plan? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, the problem is sometimes when the horse already have run already once, and you bring him up here, walking through the paddock is a challenge. It could be with the older horse, with the 2-year-old, because of the crowd, all the movement, all the kids running around. So you don't want them to make it to the paddock all sweaty and washed out. So you try to do, when you school them the first time, you'll see if they're going to need a second time or a third time.
Ah, interesting. How many horses do you have up there?
Right now I got 30 here and I got 15 at Belmont.
Do you go back and forth during the meet?
I went twice so far.
I mean, do your horses go back and forth?
Yeah, I swap them. Like they run, I put them in the shuttle with somebody, and then I bring 2 that I have over there training ready
So
to
you're
run.
looking at the condition book and trying to figure
Correct.
out who's yeah, very good. All right, let's take a look because, as I say, you've had a nice meet so far, and let's take a look at some of the winners. First, we'll go back to August 6th. We'll watch Action Jackson, who this one had already had 4 starts in the career, but hadn't been seen since last November. Comes back now as a new 4-year-old, and just give me your impression. I mean, it seems like one of those horses. Eventually, they figure it out. And this one in career start number 5, first start of a 4-year-old, number 4, Action Jackson, just looks like this one has the game figured out now as a 4-year-old.
Well, Joseph Sapi has the horse early on. I don't know what have they give him time off. So Mr. Goichman moved the horse over to me because obviously he's a New York bred. But the horse was training pretty well since day one. He had pretty good breezes, and I had Flavian on him before the race to breeze him, and he loved the horse. So we know we were sitting on a good race. I mean, the time was concerning because it come over layoff, but the horse is doing everything right going into the race.
And again, this was August 6th, and we're at the point now. Is there maybe another race here, or are you looking at
I'm pointing him for the West Point.
Oh, very good. All right. So we'll take a look at, and how did he come out of the race?
He came out of the race in great shape.
All right. And also want to look at a couple of first-time starters that ran well. Always intrigued by them. This is a couple of days earlier. We're going to look at August 4th. We're going to look at Alluring Angel. First-time starter who Irad Ortiz on board and gets it done very nicely. Talk a little bit about Alluring Angel when we get a look at that replay in a couple.
Gotta watch Action Jackson do it again.
But again, just fill us in on Alluring Angel.
Well, Alluring Angel, when she came to me, she was training pretty forwardly, but not. She really surprised me that they coming from behind because she wasn't training like a horse that was ready to win first time out.
And
but
she
I know she
really
was
did come from the back of the pack.
I know she was gonna run a good race, but I never expected her to win first time out. She was that precocious, like in the morning, but.
Well, you didn't think you were going to win the race until the 16th
I was going to say,
Tony home, I was
going
concerned. I said, it can't be possible that this filly is not beating one.
Is there a point in the race, and this is how you view the race that's different than a handicapper would do it? You felt like she was going to run well. In about the middle of the race, are your thoughts confirmed like she is running well? I mean, obviously she explodes and she wins, which is the ultimate. But is there a point at which you're like, I'm getting what I thought I would get out of her? And
at the 5-16 pole, I was a little concerned because she was trading the field. At the 8 pole, I feel pretty comfortable because she started making her move in the outside, and she's really the only one running.
Right now, it's only at the 8 pole. It's only a matter whether she gets her or not. But
correct.
you know, your thoughts were confirmed that she was ready to run a good race, and she has. And now it's whether you get the money.
That is correct.
Okay. I mean, because we look at it differently, but you know, the same. And how often do they surprise you where you're like, I didn't see that coming? And mostly on the good side.
Well, I think on daily basis because I have babies that ran early on that I love. One missed the break and finished 5th. The other one came off the turf and he ran as good as I. So, you know, every horse is different.
Okay, because I always was like, boy, I didn't see that coming.
In Saratoga, everybody loves their horses.
Yes, we know that.
But
It's
this is how this game
I
is.
always tell trainers, just tell me when she's off her game a little bit, because you're right. We're ready to win.
That one,
And which was the case in the next race we're going to show you, which was a popular race. And
as a handicap, as a player and as a trainer, that last race, when you're in the middle of the stretch, you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden,
Then she started making her move at the airport. I was like feeling pretty good there.
Yeah, and like you said, you picked it up just like a handicapper. She's the one running, so
Correct.
you're like, this is probably going to be good. And we have one more set.
Yeah, one more. Again, this was also from August. Oh, before that we do that, again, it was August 4th, so we're going to look for Alluring Angel again sometime here at the meet.
No, I think I'm going to point her for Kentucky down. The 2-year race going
right.
6.5.
Well,
Okay.
Plenty of down there.
I'm sure that's not for 85,000.
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Here we're looking at Lachey's. Again, this was the same day. Lachey's going to be the number 7 horse in here, getting it done. Again, in a career debut effort. Talk about the performance here.
Now, this horse wasn't a surprise. I expected this horse to win first time out. He comes from all his family is a runner. Like, my heart belongs to Daddy. She always show up for me. Runaway Rumor. And this horse is training like a horse that was ready to fire first time out.
And owned by Larry Goichman and homebred as well. So that had to be fun for everybody.
It was a thrill day for them and for me.
I think that race, there was a lot of buzz that was a big race, so maybe you beat some runners. The question with him that popped up for me, there was I don't have the PPs in front of me, but it was about his third to last workout. It seemed to be much better. And like I said, I know there's a lot going on and whether the number's exactly right. But my thought was you kind of felt he was going to be really sharp in his first race. Is there a workout where you just go, wow, that's something changed? The light bulb, Seth likes to say the light bulb goes off and you're like.
Well, yeah, his last breeze from the gate with Flavian on the training track, when he went half a mile in 50, galloped out 102, 116. Being in the outside. Normally the horses in the outside in the training track at the disadvantage.
Right. See, guys like us would not think much of that based on the numbers, but you are like.
I like my horses, my turf horses in between 49 50, gallop out 102.
Okay.
And again, looked very good.
He was good, and that's going to be a good group coming out. So first time out, I think you beat a nice field.
And again, I have to ask Lachey's what might be up next for that one.
I'm gonna try probably run him in the anticipation at the end of the month.
Yeah, he'll be back. So good. We got.
With the horse we play day by day and see how they come out.
We know. Absolutely. Yeah, we absolutely know. All right, and as I said, you have one in today, and so let's get a thought on Busy Morning as well, the New York Stallion Series this afternoon. I think it's kind of a competitive race, and I put Busy Morning in my mix. Only 2 career starts, and we're going to look at the Maiden Breaker. Back on June 25th, going to be the number 14 horse in here and win it pretty easily. And career start number 2, benefited obviously from the career debut and moved forward nicely. Give us the thoughts on Busy Morning, first 2 starts of the career and coming into this afternoon.
Well, her first out, she got a little tired in the 16 pole, and Lescano said she never stopped running. She got a little tired towards the end, but that was to be expected running first time out a mile. Then cutting her back in distance when I turning for home at the 5:16 pole, Lescano was just loaded up there.
Yeah.
And she ran such a hard race. I told the guy, and Dan from New York Final Furlong, he's pretty good. I told him, let's just aim for something which you get 6 or 7 weeks in between the race. Because sometimes, you run your horses back too soon and they don't fire as good as they do.
Now I have a question because our family was on vacation. I see Santa Claus 14. Were you in the main body?
I wasn't in the body of the race. I was in the AE.
And this is Seth that I talk about. He's less. Did you really want to get in? Like, were you really like, I want to get in here today?
When they called me 2 days before, they told me, like, because I entered her for the following day.
Right.
And they told me, look, if you want to run tomorrow, you have a good shot of running tomorrow. I said, well, if I'm going to get in tomorrow, I want to run tomorrow.
Now, like I said, we were.
I wonder why.
Yeah, we were going on vacation. What was the next day's condition and distance? The
it was
same
a shorter field, yeah.
Shorter
field with less horses.
Okay, so that's one of the things. What's the word? I love that thought because the trainer, like, you like, this is what I want, and you're like, so what was your thought when you drew the AE? You're like,
I was mad because I had another horse in there, and I say, why can this one be eligible and not this and not?
Oh, is that where you have to mention the preferred and everything?
Which is fine, because sometimes you have to give preference to other horses.
No,
Well, give us your thought on this afternoon, because as I said, it's
I mean, it's a pretty salty race, and I think if
yeah.
this filly run the same way she ran last time, we're going to be tough in there. She's been training pretty well.
You are asking a lot. You know, you come off the
Correct.
sprint, and you know, and as Seth mentioned, this is a good group. I was talking earlier on the program that these stallion series, from time to time, and I know we have two of them in here, they're maidens, but that doesn't help here.
That
This
doesn't
is
mean anything
this is a
either.
tough group, and your horse has got talent, obviously, and the spot fits, but it's a tough ass at a mile, but we'll see.
Looked pretty good there, though.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the maiden breaker. So we wish you a lot of good luck this afternoon, and the remainder of the meet as well. Again, so far you're having a very good meet, and we'll look for the two that we talked about already
Coming back
potentially in those stakes races, and wish you, as I say, a lot of good luck and congratulations on what you've done so far. Appreciate your stopping by this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
Jorge Abreu, again, with busy morning in this afternoon, and we will also have some other horses to look forward to in stakes action potentially going forward, and more. All right, we'll wrap it up for Racing Across America on this Thursday morning. Appreciate your tuning in, as always. Nice day here at Saratoga, so swing up if you'd like to enjoy the races or stop by the racebook. Fire up your Capital OTB bet account and play from your couch if you'd like to, and watch us all afternoon here on the network. Don't forget, Thursday means low rollers up here. That's always a lot of fun. You put $40 in, $10 goes into the prize pool. They give you a $30 card. You make a win, place, and show bet, $2 win, place, and show 5 times during the afternoon. If you're at the top of the list, you win the first prize in the prize pool. You can add a little extra money to your bankroll. It's always a lot of fun up here. It's over at the 4-Star Dave area where you can sign up. And as I always say, if you're new to contests, we have the horse tourneys on our website, OTB, and so this maybe pulls you into that. But Thursday and Sunday, so that means low rollers today here at the track as well. We'll wrap it up here on the network for the morning programming. We'll be back in tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for the Handicappers Award, 10 a.m. for Racing Across America. We'll see you then.
Great job.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.